That's like the zoning.
All right, thank you for joining us for the East Aurora Village Board meeting for October 3rd, 2022. If you could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call attendance, please, Maureen?
Trustee Lazikis.
Here.
Trustee Cameron.
Here.
Trustee Vijay.
Here.
Trustee Flynn.
Here.
Trustee Kimmelhart.
Here.
Trustee Shear.
Here.
Mayor Mercurio.
Present.
7 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the village board meeting for September 2022? Moved by Marcia, second. Second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve the payment of abstracts for 10/3/2022 for voucher numbers 62712 to 62750 for a total of $206,368.69.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Molly,
Second.
second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. All right, we're going on to our first speakers and communications opportunity. We're going to start with the town highway supervisor who has a proposal he would like to suggest. Please.
All right, most of you know me, David Gunner, Town of Aurora Highway Superintendent, also village resident. Our bridge engineer, Jerry Sense from Foyt Albert. Thanks for having us here. Trustee Viguer, thank you for helping us get on the agenda. So as most of you are aware, the town of Aurora last year applied and was successful in winning 2 Bridge New York grants for the Church Street and the East Fillmore bridges. I'm sure you've seen that in the papers. If you haven't seen that, that was really good news. We were awarded about $1.8 million to get those 2 done. So as we went forward and hired our bridge engineer, we've gone through the preliminary to start looking at both these projects to move forward. And we've identified a couple of issues that I think that the village should be aware of. The easy one to start with is Church Street. Church Street has a current antiquated water line underneath it. We're recommending that it was changed. Your superintendent from DPW agrees. There's a couple of options. You could do it in-house or you could attach it to our bid and it'd be a line item that the village would pay for. So it's just one thing I want to put in the public record and know what you'd like to do on that. All right. The other thing I just got to say too, is we do need the questions we have tonight. We do need to know probably by the end of the year, what the village would like to do. Okay. So we're just going to present these tonight and then later we'll need to know how you want to handle it. Okay. Any questions on Church Street? That's a simple one. Okay. All right. Did everybody get my little color coded paperwork? I believe I sent it down there to Maureen. Everybody has all these here. Okay. 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 Well, I hand colored each one of them to help to understand it. But anyway, so what we arrived to when we went to the East Fillmore Bridge, the first thing we saw immediately, generally a road has a right of way that goes from the center of the road and goes out. That's pretty much, I think you all understand how that works. When we did the survey there, it was real unusual. Immediately, we realized that the road is in the wrong place for what the bridge is. The bridge on the east side is the boundary line, and then the right of way goes quite a ways to the west side. So it was obvious that there was something going on there. And I enlisted town attorney Rob Galler to help us try to figure out what was going on with this bridge. And we were able to come up with the provenance. The bridge was originally built in the late 1800s, and it was built by Alfred Brotherhood, and it was called Brotherhood Bridge. And he built it out of rocks, and it was a wooden bridge on the top where he used that to get his livestock to his farm. His house was up on Main Street, right across from Elmwood. right next to the current Green Glen. Later, and from what we can gather, sometime about 100 years ago in the early 20s, the village acquired that property. And at that time drew out the lines for it. And they called it North Elmwood. In 1940, the village trustees voted to take the Brotherhood Bridge and remove the wooden structure on the top and replace it with the current concrete structure that you have now. And I think you can see I provided you all with all that documentation. So the bottom line is it appears that the village trustees back 100 years ago laid that road out to be a 2-lane highway and a 2-lane bridge. It's pretty obvious when you look at the map. And I'll switch to that. If you take the two ones, color code and put them together, that's your current drawing. Okay. If you do have orange lines, those are your actual highway boundaries. Does everybody kind of see that on there? AHB, okay. If you look in between the blue lines, that will show you exactly what the current road looks like. Do you have blue lines? I'm not sure. Okay.
Yes, they do.
All right, so it shows it starts as a 2-lane road and it shrinks down to a 1-lane. And in the yellow box is the current East Fillmore Bridge, okay? Because of where the right of way is, we have only one place we can put that new bridge, and that's the green box, all right? This is a 2-lane DOT approved bridge like we've done on both Whaley and North Grove. It will have end caps for potential sidewalks if needed. For us to build that bridge, the road needs to be reconfigured. As you can see, we drew in the purple lines a concept of what the road should really be laid out. Now, we won the Bridge New York grant. It only includes the bridge and the approaches. So it's not the town's responsibility to replace the road. So we put this together and Jerry has given a preliminary estimate of the village, what it would cost the village, the extra to put the road where it originally was intended 100 years ago. At this time, preliminary, it's about $100,000. Okay. Again, just like the Church Street Bridge, we recommend that you go through us. We would handle all the design for free. There'd be no engineering. We would take care of all the on-site management of this project. You'd benefit probably quite a bit from just mutual construction instead of doing it on your own. Though you could do it on your own. The other thing too, that's not included in this drawing, but we are recommending a sidewalk to connect the current sidewalk on the east side of the road only, not the west side of the road. And we recommend a sidewalk to connect from Martin to East Fillmore to complete the existing sidewalk. That is a part that doesn't really impact our construction at all. It's really an optional thing up to the village. But as you know, if you are going to do it, you're probably going to do it a lot cheaper if you just do it when the whole project's going on. Currently, Jerry has set an estimate of that of about $35,000. We don't need this money now. We're hoping to get this project bid in early spring. Again, if the village agrees, it would be a contract with the bid winner for those additional items to do these projects. And we're not here for an answer tonight. It's just we ran into a problem. We want to make sure you're aware and keep you up to speed. Now, we have been having on job site meetings. Trustee Beguer was nice enough to come down and meet with a lot of the residents. The residents are aware of what's going on. We've also had meetings with the Church Street residents too. So it's all good news. I think it's just that this is something we just didn't expect. That's all. But when you look at the provenance, it's kind of obvious why it is the way it is. And we don't have no choice. You know, we have to bring it to you guys. So, Jerry, you want to say anything? Unless you want to ask me.
I think you covered all of it.
It's kind of a.
The only thing I will add is that if you decide to do any of this work in with the contract, the charges for your portion of work will be kept completely separate from that of the town. The contractor doesn't know the difference between this is your piece of work and this is their piece of work. They're paid. But we will have a person on site while the contractor is working each day, and they'll keep track of it. It's called a betterment. And so they'll know, okay, this piece gets charged to betterment 2, this gets charged to betterment 1. So they keep track of all of that. The contractor would be 100% paid by the town. And then it would be an agreement between the village and the town on how the town gets paid back for what they paid the contractor.
There would be no misunderstanding on the cost. It would be a bid item.
It would be a bid item. We can, once it's bid, we will have a bid. It's one bid and the contract will be awarded on low bid. But then we'll split that up and say, okay, this is the village part and this is the town part. There's a lot of paperwork involved. It's complicated, but believe me, I've done it a million times. So it's not foreign. And
Put
you're
our
gonna
part in as an alternate.
pardon me?
You put ours in as an alternate.
It would not be an alternate. It would be part of the bid. It would just be a betterment. Now, the sidewalk, if you chose to do the sidewalk as an alternate, that could be done as an alternate. Because we can leave that out, but obviously, you know, if I put the bridge here, I gotta have roadway to go to it, so that would be a betterment, not an alternate. The sidewalk could be an alternate, though.
Okay.
We would probably design the bridge for sidewalks on both sides. They would be called safety walks, so that if you chose not to do a sidewalk now, at least it could accommodate it. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if you decided to do sidewalks later on, at least it would be accommodated and you wouldn't be changing a bridge structure to just, you know, put a sidewalk on it.
So there's no need to take land by eminent domain.
No,
That's
we're
all
completely with
village. Okay.
in the preliminary. This is all preliminary, not there, but it looks very good.
Another-
Same with the church. That's
okay,
good.
Another point is, it seems that, I mean, I don't know, I love things to remain the way they are. I think that there's something very charming about that 1-lane bridge, but
Sure.
if you're, one of the things for safety feels like keeping some kind of curve in also would slow down traffic, which might make it more safe. But you can't.
Are you saying that you prefer the curve that's in there? I disagree. I think more of a right hand angle is going to be a lot more safer. Yeah, well, it's pretty much a right angle by the time you're pretty little curve. But I think actually the new roadway, if it goes to this plan, is much safer. Right now, it's like a NASCAR embankment. They whip right around it. They wouldn't be able to do that because it's almost a right hand turn. And
I
also,
think that's probably better for emergency vehicles too, I suppose. or-
oh, I gotta think, I know Roger LeBlanc has told me that two-way lane would be preferable. I can't see anybody that would not prefer that. Though it is quaint now.
It is.
Yeah.
So could you do a 1-lane?
No,
Why not?
that's our Bridge New York grant. We're dictated by them.
Uh,
We won't do it.
So
We'll
the
just,
state requires it to be 2
We
lanes, but
put
they
it-
don't require sidewalks. but-
we applied for an application for a two-way bridge.
But so you're recommending just a sidewalk on the one side?
Yeah,
On the
honestly,
east side.
Mayor, I don't think it's necessary on the other side. Again, it's our opinion and it's not quite shared totally with the residents. It would infect. Some of the residents are against it because they do not want to have to maintain it for the future with snow and sidewalk plowing. But you have a whole neighborhood over there that road is a connector for. And I won't say any names, but I've had people tell me that kids that grow up over there literally are told not to even go on that road because it's a current safety issue.
Mhm.
I think if you look at, I understand the residents' concerns. We all have them in the village. I would think with it being a hillway, if you did put it sidewalk, the DPW might want to make that a priority to plow because of the hill. So I can understand the residents, but when you look at the big picture where that is laid, I just find it hard to not see a sidewalk.
So you're centering the road in the right of way and you want the sidewalk on the east side.
East side.
Why not the
correct.
west side? Just so I know why.
Well, do you really want to? I think when you look at a safety point of view, usually the outside curve is the safer one to put people on. So if it comes to a preference, but if you wanted to spend the money on 2 of them, we could do that too.
No, just wondering why you chose the east side.
Because
versus the west
that's more of the visibility side as you go around a curve.
Purely. I did talk to a couple of residents who made the point of the bus picking up where the 2 bus stops are for the school. And right now, kids are not going that way as a way to get to school.
Mayor, let me just say this too, before the curve, what we would do, and trustee Vigar would understand, 'cause she was there. We would actually put a crosswalk. There's 2 current sidewalks on East Fillmore on both sides of the road. What we would do is have an apron go into a crossover before the curve to make sure that everybody could go across that curve and then take that around the bridge to Martin Road. Now on Martin, it already currently has an apron. It appears it was planned that way at one time. Again, it's almost like we're kind of putting in what it looks like the village intended.
Yeah, on the east side, the sidewalk just
Yeah.
ends like it looks like it's ready to continue. It's just a couple driveways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas on the west side, it does not have
Telephone
that
poles,
bulb
there's
out.
trees, there's a big dip and
Now those telephone poles, if you go look at it, will be
they
removed.
still gotta be removed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the lot, if you look at that map, it's a lot of construction work over there. But you're right, the current sidewalk, it appears like somebody designed it on Martin Road to plan to go that way at one time.
In the west side, on the south side of the bridge drops off.
Yeah, and then,
quickly.
and it's gonna drop off a lot more now too. I did talk to the one resident. I told her on my own as highway superintendent, we may be able to go off right away and try to make that slope more manageable for her to mow. Instead of leaving her a big cliff, I'd be more than happy to do that. And I've told her that. So that's the only part that may go off right away, but that's nothing to do with this project. That just, me, I just kind of try to make sure everybody's happy when we walk away. But again, and that's another negative to the sidewalk is you do have a hillside slope over there. So
So these are rough numbers, the 100,000, the 35,000. When you said preliminary, when does it get, like before we commit, when do we actually know how much it's gonna cost?
Right now, we're in very, very preliminary stages.
Mhm.
We've laid this out. It's very preliminary. If you look, you can see the wing walls at the end of the culvert. We show them straight. Those will be splayed. None of that has been worked out.
Mhm.
The process actually is we do what's called a design report for the state, where we report all these issues. We look at the environmental issues. We look at right away. We look at a lot of things. And then they approve it, and then we get into final design. As we can finalize the design, we can more accurately estimate what the cost is going to be. But of course, we won't know the actual cost until the actual bidding occurs. And well, I'm much better, but I mean, the actual number is you're gonna know it when it was bid.
But you need an answer from us by the end of the year, but you're not gonna have the number until the end of the winter?
we will have your number, at least a better preliminary. So you can consider.
Mhm.
Like what Jerry's trying to say, there's no crystal ball in what it is.
Mhm.
Right now, this number is really just preliminary.
It's very rough.
Honestly, I kind of think it's fat. We'll see.
Because you tighten up the specs, you'll get a closer number to the reality, but until the bid gets open and then you'll be able to dissect it and split it up into our portion. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
definitely-
April.
Everybody wants to know by that. Okay, but again, a lot of the construction work will issue when themselves are right, and they're benefiting quite a bit from that, so it's really hard for Jerry to quantify. Because you're basically going through extensions on the bridge, because the town does still do the approach. So I can't imagine they shouldn't be able to at least get some kind of.
We can definitely get it more accurate as we get more into final plans.
I don't think it's something that's, I would actually really high. I think it's a honest investment. Sidewalk is pretty. Probably is pretty.
Unless concrete prices go through the roof. And
We're
that's-
actually coming in third higher than we got. Town is probably not gonna be able to cover these bridges under our, which is kind of a shame, but we all know the prices are going up, so.
COVID really drove up concrete prices and a lot of it is trucking and gasoline. Now, if gasoline and everything goes down, well, then those prices are going to dip a little bit. So I'm trying to use the crystal ball as best I can. At the same time, I want to protect your interest and make sure I give you what I think is a fair number.
Yeah,
good.
I think it's not trying to say, make a decision, but I think it's about what's the best decision.
But again, you would only pay for what the betterment is. It's not like,
Right.
If the bid comes in at 90,000 and we tell you 100 and you're going to overspend the 10, you're going to pay the actual number.
Right.
And, we'll back that up if whatever backup you want, we'll have item numbers and quantities and costs and spreadsheets like you wouldn't believe. We're a bunch of geeky engineers. You got it.
What do you got, Maureen?
For the East Fillmore, if they decide to go with it and they go with it at the estimate of 135, because you're still sticking with that, and you don't have it as a separate addendum on the bid, and it comes in at 200 and we say, nope, not at 200, what happens for that situation? Because then do you lose out on your bid?
You said 135, so you're including the sidewalk.
Yeah, let's hypothetically say,
So it's easy to take the sidewalk out.
okay, so let's say the 100 becomes 200 and we don't care about the sidewalks.
You're correct.
Uh-huh.
So then the town has to make a decision whether they want to fund the additional for their place. The bid could get pulled and rebid. We could rebid it and take it out and come up with something different.
Okay, so it's not good to just separate them right from the get-go?
A whole bunch of scenarios that could happen if it was outrageously.
Okay. And then the Church Street, I was told our portion would be an addendum. Would it be an addendum for the Church Street?
The water line,
Mhm.
when you say an addendum.
Separate, so that we could say no when we find out what a dollar amount actually is, an alternate. Okay, but we can't do that with Fillmore.
Not with the road.
Okay,
Why is that? What is the definitions of a betterment versus an addendum? See now, I don't understand why you couldn't bid part A, part B. Why do you have to lump it and then you decide how much it's split?
The reason being is, for the bid alternate, you can either say yes or no. So the sidewalk is over here, it stands alone.
Mhm.
If it comes in, as your example, way too high, we can just say no.
Right.
On the road, if I've got the bridge here, I gotta get the road to the bridge. If suddenly you say no, and I've got the road here and I got the bridge here.
So that's the assumption that we're all gonna agree that we want to change the curve. But Mr. Gunner, you said you almost have to change the curve to get a 2-lane bridge in there, correct?
That's correct. It's
So
really.
it's kind of like a catch 22.
This kind of, it is a catch 22. It's nobody's fault. It just.
Yeah, okay.
Bottom line, the village is going to end up with a beautiful road, a very safe road and a bridge that you won't have to worry about for
But
100
that's
years.
stipulation of the grant.
But we
so
can't,
That's what you're saying, though,
The two
the 2 lanes.
That's how it was bid for the.
that's
grant.
how we applied for the grant. We can't change that. I had never had that even in my mind to do a 1-lane bridge, so we can't change the current grant from what was awarded. Nobody ever told me they wanted a 1-lane bridge. I mean, when I talked to, I believe, Chief Krieger was involved, said the 2 lanes back when we did this, and so did Roger LeBlanc wanted 2 lanes, I believe, for safety.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody builds a 1-lane bridge anymore. I mean, unless it's for historic purposes, and this isn't. But you're right. I mean, really, we almost can't build your bridge unless, if you
Right.
see the drawing,
I know.
you literally would have a
If we say
snake
no,
curve
there's
in
no
there
bridge.
with
Sure.
it going from 2 lanes to 1 lane to 2 lanes to 1 lane to 2 lanes.
Mhm.
If you refuse to do it, it would be one of the most horrific looking road projects of all time. You'd have a beautiful bridge with craziness.
Right. Understood.
So again, we're not trying to put a gun to your head. We're just bringing you the facts. This was decided by the village probably 100 years ago. We're just finally getting it done. Sorry, it got dropped in your lap. We didn't expect it. When we did this project, we never had any idea that your right of way was not where your road was. But
Right.
here it is. But you know, what's funny is most of those residents have lived over there like 50 years. They all knew about it. They were the ones telling me most of the history, like, oh yeah, we know that's not our property. And I'm like, okay, that's nice, because we were worried about eminent domain on this project. And thankfully, the village had the foresight to put the road in properly 100 years ago so we can do our job. Okay.
Good. Any other questions for him?
Hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, it is still speakers and communications. You'll have a second opportunity at the end of the meeting. But if you have a topic you want to talk on now, please raise your hand and when called on, come up. Give us your name and address and let us know your thoughts.
I have not almost.
Yeah, you still have to come up in your name.
It's all right. Just name and address for the record. We record all the meetings. Nice. What's your name and address, please?
My name is John. I'm at 898 East Fillmore Avenue.
Thank you.
I'm, we get a little, right house right by the bridge. Our property is not, we don't own the property, I'm pretty over.
Are you on the west side, downstream of the bridge,
We're on we're on the east side.
upstream?
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, well, okay.
Coming down Fillmore.
If you go down Fillmore, right, and around the back.
Onto the bridge.
We're on the right side,
Got it. Thank you.
right?
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to get a clear picture of where you are.
So, David Gunner has been really great about coming down and meeting with all of us. We've had a couple meetings and we got fun things to sit down and meet with us. You know, what they have come up with, what he presented, okay, and in our first meeting, sidewalks were mentioned and we all were opposed to it because I was thinking some of the reasons, but then the sidewalk was addressed and then he made arrangements, we got email addresses, then he made, you know, made an arrangement this week and one day and presented everything in there, presented the sidewalk proposition, which we are all the properties that the new sidewalk supposedly is gonna would go on, we are opposed to it. Okay, I am opposed to it for two reasons. First of all, I hate to lose the integrity of our little street. For one, it is very rough there. Number two, it is so wet. My front yard, like right now, you walk through my front yard, push, right, in the winter. We get bombarded with snow because of the snow. Okay, so my concern is in all of our, how are we gonna maintain that? Okay, even if somebody comes through with one of those machines, there's no way with the runoff and the ice and everything else, and I'm just being honest.
Mhm.
To me, that would be a thing. And I see people like, you know, on that walking, and they do it anyway. I don't want, and we're unanimous, with neighbors that the proposed sidewalk is, you know, might be. We don't want it. We haven't got it. We've been there, it's been like that for 100 years. Okay. I have been there for a long time, since 1987. My husband and I we walk the village all the time, we walk up. The only thing that I see, I'm off of the bridge. They want to, you know, do the 2 lane. Oh, we don't need anything. I don't feel that we're busy enough. They're justified to do this and that.
Mhm.
So, my opinion. Okay. So I also want to be like all of us, whatever the village side or as you guys have meetings, I would like to see like to have somebody, you know, because when everything started with the spread, we actually, when the surveyors and everything started, people on our property, nobody told us. Like, we were like, all these people are, you know, going for our properties, they're doing like little surveys and they're doing steer and test there. They let me and walk, like, I'm very straightforward, or, you know, I'll just go up and say, hey, what are you doing? But it did like concern a couple of neighbors, they would kind of.
Weirded you out a little.
Okay, I don't want to get into that, okay,
Mhm.
but it is, you know, so. It's my concern, and hoping, you know, what is that, not an issue with the bridge. Pave that road. Clean up that corner a little bit, so if you're going up the hill, maybe cut down a couple trees, and you can see some people, you know, like, you know, walking. Just common sense, very inexpensive things to do. And just my.
Okay, and so since they're moving, it looks like they're moving the bridge away from your property and suggesting we had a sidewalk on the side, but that still doesn't look like it really goes onto your property or anything. Your concern is the maintenance. Your concern is the maintenance of it.
But the whole, if you will, I think there's 1, 2, 3. And four properties coming down and then my property and my neighbor's property. That's like 6 properties of type.
Mhm.
Okay, but to be honest with you, I don't think that it's really that overly necessary. On the other side, you would have only 1 property to go to the sidewalk, well, actually, 1, on top and then.
One on either side of the bridge. Yeah.
It would be
You
an
think that
issue.
side's a better idea, the west side?
Yeah, it would be an issue for the property owner that on top of the hill, because then it would be an access, almost they could come up with some kind of, so like, Grace has been down to see the Grace kind of lived there. I mean, you guys are all walking down and just take a walk and,
Mhm.
can you park in my driveway?
I have. I've checked it out.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, so your yard drops down a little too, right? It's a little lower, but not as much as on the west side, downstream side.
Ours is our-
Mhm.
Because we get a lot of runoff,
Mhm.
because you got the hill and then we got the creek, then it just keeps going down and down.
Mhm.
So we get quite a bit of runoff and then winter, even now we get, like last week when we had out there rain, I actually had a rain day. It's 500 rain in 3 days. Our pond yard was.
Mhm.
Okay, so. You're more than welcome to come in, especially this winter, because especially like last winter. When we had that ice dam thing, where everybody was getting flooded, it started now. They put that bridge, which I'm really happy that. That maybe widen that bridge a little bit, okay, so that doesn't happen. We had these huge ice pumps on our side of our yard. We had to go over many times.
Hmm.
With us, we're fortunate, it's side of our property, it was right down the street.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we
Good.
actually replaced our tape.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I do. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Rhoda.
All right.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Hello.
Sam Hoffman, my girlfriend Sarah back there, we live on Martin Drive, and, I agree with the 1 lane thing. I don't know if this bridge is getting rebuilt or redone, because it's like crucial, or it's been flat, I think the 1 lane bridge is good because, for the historical purpose, I like that, it's like 1 lane bridge does have a sort of charm to it.
Mhm.
Also, the 1 lane bridge, most of the people that take that bridge are local, so they know that it's only 1 lane, basically slow down. So I think that it kind of. It acts as like almost like a natural reason that you have to slow down to check the traffic, see if someone's coming, so I think that. Like the safety issue of it, I feel like it'd be safer to have to slow down to that 1 lane. If there's 2 lanes, I feel like there's a chance that it could increase the speed that people take that. So.
Yeah, the road doesn't really lead anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
somebody's like, oh, I want to go to Holland or I want to go to Hamlin Park, they don't need to go down that road. It's just for the people basically who
Yeah,
live
so
down.
all those
Yeah.
people know.
Right.
So there could be kids, there could be, somebody doing, so that's kind of like. That 1 lane too, like, oh, there's another car coming, I gotta gauge and see who's going first. So that's a natural reason to slow down.
Mhm.
So I think that having 1 lane does give it that benefit that you go. So that's just something. And that's.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Anyone else?
Greg Goggins, 813 Martin Drive. I wasn't sure there was going to be a comment, so I'm not prepared. But number one of the things that drew us to the area is the quaintness of the neighborhood, 1 lane bridge, no sidewalk. I understand the need for a double lane. I'm not in favor of a sidewalk. We moved there 27 years ago. Our kids grew up, walked that bridge, bikes on that bridge, driving over that bridge. I don't feel that there's a need for sidewalk. Previous speaker spoke, mentioned not going anywhere on that bridge unless you live in that neighborhood. People are aware, it's in the neighborhood. Never had a problem turning up the bridge or down the bridge. There's a car approaching on the other side. I stop or they stop. Depending on the way. I'm also opposed to a stop sign. If the proposed bridge goes through in the road, and then it's that will be a 90-degree angle,
Mhm.
there's your stop sign right there.
You talking? Have they been talking about putting a stop sign in? You talking like Whaley and North Street? You know, where you go down Whaley, you stop and then take a left. You know, on that right turn right there.
We were on site the other day, someone had brought that up. They wanted a stop sign at the end of Fillmore.
I don't know.
Just residents, I like to met with them about all their concerns. I explained to them there was residents. I did explain that was up to the village. Village did decide to do that. They're out of our- We don't have any.
Okay.
But if the village, it's actually not a traditional thing. You're right.
And Greg, you're saying since it's a right turn, that stops people anyway. Yeah.
As it is now, it's curved. If it's 90 degrees, there's your stop sign.
I personally agree.
Mhm.
Okay.
When I'm marching, the actual curve.
Mhm.
That's
But crosswalk would probably be okay there.
but down further where the curve went, you wouldn't bring it up for that.
No.
Pull up there currently inside. So I wouldn't bring that, but. Bring it up though, if it was a preference, so it wanted on the west side or the east side, I don't think that that's a cost. Just our.
Thank you.
Greg, you good? Thanks, Greg. Anyone else? Anyone else want to speak on any topic? You'll have a second chance later in the meeting. Moving on to official considerations. We have, can I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for the East Aurora High School Homecoming Parade retro to September 30th?
So move.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I got a motion to cancel the village board meeting for January 3rd, 2023.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen,
Second.
second by Marcia. Further discussion? It's called the Maureen rule. No, we actually do it because not a lot comes in during the holiday week at the end of December. So January 3rd, there's usually not a lot to cover that can't be moved around. So. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I got a motion to schedule a public hearing on November 7th to review the current special use permit issued to Rookies Sports Bar and Grill at 701 Main Street.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I got a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the memorandum of understanding with the PBA union, amending language in the contract for the part-time school resource officer position.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second by Mark. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with the school district for the part-time school resource officer position.
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second.
I'll second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? I think it's a good agreement.
Yeah.
Looks tight, covers everything. I got a note. They're able, Shane, they're able to sit in on the hiring and they can reject your choice.
Yes and no. Because of the agreement with the PBA, they're limited. But they were very thrilled that Darren was our prospective candidate, Darren Longboat.
Oh, yeah, Darren's great.
Yeah, they're very familiar with him through the years of his dare work through the elementary and middle school. So they're very excited to have him back in those schools when this gets going.
Good, and we would approve it for, what was it, say September 20? It's a little, is it backdated? He has.
Well, we
He's
haven't
just
hired.
doing the job, I guess.
We
is the
haven't
question.
done it yet, but we're projecting he'll be starting on October 24th, I think is a
Okay.
Monday after the school board's meeting to approve their side of it.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to appoint Darren Longboat as the part-time school resource officer with a salary of $33,000 with a start date after the contract between the village and school district for these services has been approved by both parties in the village, and PBA have agreed to an MOU to amend language in the union contract for this position.
All in one breath.
Yeah.
So moved.
I don't mess around.
Second.
Second, moved by Kristen, second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. No new business. Second, speakers and communications.
Sorry,
What?
I just have a question, Chief.
Yes.
So will he have, use of a vehicle specific to the SRO position or not?
No, he'll be able to use a vehicle if there's one available. If not, he'll just have to drive to the school in his own
It is
vehicle.
okay. Sorry.
That's okay. And he's gonna be back and forth between the middle school and Parkdale?
Yeah, it sounds like that's the school's plan is to split up between the two schools that don't have an SRO.
And
Probably more so in the middle school,
Mhm.
but probably some getting to know the kids' time in elementary school.
sure, any work at Immaculate?
That wasn't discussed, but generally we use officers off the road if Immaculate needed anything.
All right, no new business. Second, speakers and communications. Anybody want to speak on any topic? Now's your chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. Department head report, Shane.
Nothing tonight.
You said Pat Welch in your last report. You said Pat Welch hired and trained the crossing guards. Because we had an issue with filling those positions, right, last year?
We still do. Yeah, it's not an easy position to fill.
Yeah, no, the hours are, what is it, like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
less than that, actually. Yeah.
But you've
so
got a full complement now?
we have, yes, we have like 4 currently working part-timers that either do a morning or an afternoon.
And that's enough? Or are you hiring more?
It works for right now. It makes it a little more difficult for special events. In the past, we've had more crossing guards available to us. But since we haven't been able to hire any, we end up having to use police officers or trying to get fire police to help
All right, so
at special events.
if you could get 2 more, you'd take it.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
You're
And the
looking for a
juvenile
part-time
room,
job?
what's that?
You're looking for a
I
part-time
do, I
job?
need a side hustle. Yeah, the Uber thing isn't working out. And the juvenile detention room, you said is complete?
It's done. We're just waiting for family court to come out and approve it and give us their blessing and sign off on it so we can use it.
So
Yep.
did you do it according to their specs? I mean, is there any question that they won't?
No.
They'll be like, oh, everything's.
no,
fine."
They came out and looked at what we were doing and told me what they needed for their approval. And one of the last things was just getting a sign for the door, a permanent sign, which I just got and got installed and we have our camera system installed, so we're good to go.
Awesome, good. And Matt, you handled that? Matt didn't do that part? Who did that part?
Advanced Alarm did it,
Okay.
the same company that does our other camera systems.
Oh, I meant the room itself.
Oh, the room, oh, no, the DPW
Yeah.
took out a door and filled in the hole in the wall and painted and did a lot of work to it to get it up to speed.
All right. All right, thanks, Shane.
Yep.
Matthew?
The new basketball court has been excavated, stone graded, and should be paved possibly later this week or next week, along with the access sidewalk from the parking lot to the basketball court and the tennis courts.
Awesome. Anything else?
Not at the moment.
Thank you, Matt. There was something I was thinking. So the school has their student volunteer hours. They reached out to us and asked if we had any work for them. And did you guys, you and Christine, find some work for some of the students?
It was canceled.
How was that?
Yeah.
It got rained out.
Oh, okay. Are they still gonna do it at some point in the season?
No, so I think they said they're going to the spring now. Is that correct? Does we all remember?
So there's no other date in the fall?
Correct. They didn't reschedule for fall.
Could have used them for the holiday decoration. As we get closer, could have used them. I'm gonna call a school. All right, anything else, Matt? Anybody have anything for Matt? All right, Liz?
Nothing tonight.
All right. Kathy?
So I think the mayor and the clerk and I all got the notice about AARP doing a great big seminar training conference, basically online, about senior housing. It was 3 hours one day and 3 hours another day. I think I drew the short straw and got to attend it, which was fine. We were hoping maybe we could get some tips about what we might do with the Fisher Price property was the main purpose of it. I don't know that I got a lot for that, other than the fact that the message is that a shortage of housing for seniors of all levels of income and everything throughout is like going on throughout the country. It's difficult. So I think we are absolutely on the right track, that we want to put in something that seniors who live in East Aurora now could still afford, and it wouldn't be something super expensive. That we would build something that would be available for them, because there isn't anything now. And as I said, that's a problem apparently everywhere in the United States, according to the training. The other thing I did want to mention about it, though, the first day they were talking about a lot of different things, and wow, I wish I had a nickel for every time they use the acronym ADU for accessory dwelling unit, because I'd be sitting in Tahiti right now. I know that there was, I did perceive that there was a little bit of a concern maybe on the part of the board about a number of ADUs that were being proposed and possibly approved, and you worried about the density and everything. But the message from that seminar that I got is that is a really, really good thing to have for communities, to allow ADUs for senior housing situations where you have a family where they can have an ADU where an aging parent could go in. I know we don't control that for all the ADUs that get developed. I understand that, but it was, they did not stress that message more strongly. I mean, they couldn't have stressed it more strongly. So if you're thinking about doing something different with it, I don't know what you might do, but I think we would get a very big gold star for the fact that we already do allow ADUs to be developed, and that potentially people could have, families with parents and children could have older, their parents and grandparents move in if they had an ADU. So that was the message from the first day of that seminar.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. Maureen?
Code rec contract is with the town attorney, so hopefully we'll get that back by the next meeting, and then it'll be on your agenda. That's really it.
Very good. Thank you. All right, Steve,
All set.
Molly,
I'm good.
Marcia,
A couple things. The other day I had a meeting with one of the members of the pedestrian bicycle board. It's a group that sort of gone a little bit dormant. They want to start reconvening. They lost their prior chair, and one of the members has agreed to step up. So he's gonna reach out to see what kind of interest there still is, and then figure out a way to get a meeting going,
Great.
and then,
Who? Oh,
sorry, John Lyons.
John Lyons is?
Stepped
Okay.
up instead of John Newton.
Yep.
So, had some conversations about both bicycling, and first, you know, they talked to us, I think it was last fall, about Olean Road. Trying to find a way to put a bike path in there.
Mm.
They're very interested in bike racks. They're also have some concerns about pedestrian safety, being able to walk safely in the village. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of recommendations or thoughts they have. on
Good.
things. So I thought that was good that they're starting to get up and running.
Yeah, and once they kind of shake it out, hopefully they'll come and share with us what they're suggesting.
So there's that, and then also, I had heard before, and I'm hearing it again. Concerned about those pedestrian crossing signs, if you are in roads, the ongoing damage. And I know that we now have the more permanent signs, but Chief, have there been accidents at that intersection at all? or-
No, what happens is when people are taking a left off of North Grove, they're looking to their right, watching traffic, and they go to turn and cut a little sharp and run over the sign. It's not cars going down Main Street at crazy speeds and driving over the middle of the road and driving the sign over, yeah.
Because I mean, that is a long haul, stop sign. Have we
Yeah.
ever looked at clean stop signs?
We got a request to look at it. The safety committee hasn't met yet to discuss it. Looking at and being familiar with that intersection, that's another one of those cases where all the DOT recommendations are is you just don't throw stop signs up for no reason. You gotta have accidents, you gotta have issues. They actually say putting a stop sign up makes it it makes people feel like it's safer, but it's not. And then people walk out into the street when cars are coming. Well, there's a stop sign there. They're gonna stop now. And that might not be the case. With the traffic doesn't have as high a volume as Main Street or other similar roads.
Like we put that one in the center and Prospect. Wasn't it center and Prospect?
Yes, but there's accidents there regularly because that whole intersection is surrounded by other intersections that have four-way stops. And that was one of the ones in the area that didn't. And people would think they were gonna stop and pull out into Center Street and get hit by cars that weren't stopping because they didn't have a stop sign at that point. So.
I know those signs are temporary and I know that they're seasonal, but I'm thinking, you know, what's it costing us to keep, I mean, Matt, do you have a complete supply of those signs?
We rebuild them on a regular
Do you?
basis, yeah.
It's crazy. I received debris on the phone.
Yeah. We used to have an issue with that quite a bit at Main and Whaley. And then I don't know if we moved the placement of the sign a little bit or something, but then that stopped, so.
That's why I wonder, is there an easy fix like moving into the east side of North Grove?
I think just putting the sign on the other side of the crosswalk could prevent that from getting run over.
It's just like a target.
Yeah, we'll look at it, yeah. But again, I looked back once we got the complaint from a citizen and we haven't had an accident other than a parked car struck by, I believe it was an intoxicated driver there in the last 3 years in that area. That was it.
Speaking of that, Shane, and yeah, how was the DWI traffic stop after the Bills game in front of the post office? How'd that go?
Mostly good.
Except for the obvious.
Yeah, between us and the state police, I think there was 4 or 5 arrests for DWI that night. But as Bill's traffic is, it's so heavy and you have to relieve the traffic every once in a while during a road check like that. So you let several vehicles go at a time. So people aren't getting extremely aggravated at it. And one of the cars that was let through went straight when they should have turned to the left at Mill and went through a fence and down the embankment. And that person was intoxicated and charged. But
How's that?
it was well,
It's probably like, I can't believe it. I'm drunk and I made it through a DWI checkpoint.
well.
And gets one anyway. She
That
gets
was
herself caught.
probably the case. The
Karma.
cause was she was watching to make sure no lights were really coming after her and didn't see the turn coming, but yeah. But they got the word out that we'd be out there for after Bill's game. So I'm sure in the next couple home games will be more cautious drivers coming home from there.
I told you when I first became mayor, I love a post Bills game DWI checkpoint. We've had multiple times where Bills fan has over imbibed and ran into a parked car on Oakwood, I think twice on Oakwood.
Yeah.
And so if we do it periodically, it's a good thing that people are like, maybe I won't cut through East Aurora because they might be waiting for me. I knew the last time they did it, it was maybe 7-8 years ago, I think. And I knew there was a guy who got through it, talked his way through it, got to the circle, got confused, came back through it again, and then got caught and got a DWI and went back through it. So, I mean, there's definitely a need for it. I know it backs up traffic, but I know you said you were gonna talk to the state police about it.
Yeah.
Because it's all about staffing. We gotta have enough guys, they gotta have enough
Well,
guys.
it's staffing, Central Police Services, Emergency Services helps out bringing all the cones and all the signage. And Stop DWI pays for a lot of the overtime, if not all of it. But it is you have to have the manning to do it and people available to work. I mean, just so you guys are aware, we do, if we don't have a specific DWI patrol out for all home Bills games, we do have officers that stay in that area of 20A doing traffic enforcement and being visible. So.
Yeah, but still nothing beats having them roll down the window and talking to them, I think it's great. I think we should do those every year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Marcia, were you done? Sorry. Ernie? Nothing. Grace? Thanks for all your work on the East Fillmore Bridge stuff.
I also went and got a tour of the DPW with Matt this week. That was pretty fun. I got to see where they remake all the signs.
He put you to work while you were there?
Yeah.
And you put an addition on your house.
Did.
4 days.
Yeah. sure did.
Didn't let you play with the tools or anything?
No,
The
not
plasma
this time.
cutter?
Maybe next time.
Kristen?
Capital Committee has been meeting diligently. We've gotten input from all the department heads, so thank you to everybody for your contributions. I'll send the updated list back out to the board, still looking for projects from board members. So if there's anything on your mind that's not on the list, then please let me know. We'll add that. Sidewalks are one of those things that we talk about. So if there are locations where you think, hey, maybe we should start talking about putting a sidewalk in, that's the kind of thing we'd like to put on the list. So, or anything else, anything with, the bike board or, anything that comes to mind. So
Perfect. Thanks, Kristen. Anything else?
that's all I've got.
Yeah, I think I'm good. So can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining, please?
I'm sorry, can I just ask something? I don't know what the right timing is for this, but Marcia brought up the idea of having a public hearing about Fillmore. So what are the next steps on that? Are we going to consider having that, or what are we going to do between now and getting our final answer to the town by December?
If I could just suggest on that, I saw the specific name of the public hearing, and I think Chris would concur. We don't really have any reason to have a public hearing, and
Okay.
you're supposed to have a legal reason. That isn't to say
Okay.
that if you wanted to have a public information meeting and meet with the residents about it, that might be a good way to go. But it wouldn't be a public hearing per se.
Okay.
It's semantics, but.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's,
In a way that we could.
Yeah.
Get input.
might be another thing that you would do more in a workshop setting with, as a public information meeting versus, unless you wanted to do it as part of a regular meeting. It's up to you, but it wouldn't, technically, it wouldn't be a public
Okay,
hearing.
no, I got.
No, good question.
I'm the new kid on the block. I'm just concerned, or just the feedback that we're getting about Hamlin Park and going forward without eliciting enough input. I'm just sensitive to that, so I just don't know what the process is, so I just want to
I
bring
think
it
it's
up.
a great idea. I mean, people ask us for more information and more publicity, keeping things open, and that's what we want to do. So why not? Let's have a public information night or a session during a board meeting or something. How do you guys want to do it?
Maybe do it during a board meeting.
Special topic
During a board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people will be more apt to come
Mhm.
because it's a regularly scheduled thing.
And I think once we know a little more about the money, people are gonna have an interest in that too.
I just feel it better inform our decision making as well, if we knew what they were thinking.
Absolutely.
We've had those before and they're, you know, they've worked out well.
We're on October 3rd,
Sure, whatever
November
makes
7th,
sense, Whatever makes sense, I guess.
November 7th.
That's when we're doing the rookies thing, right?
Do it differently.
Or November
We
21.
have
Meeting night, but you could do it at maybe from 6 to 7. That's another potential.
I think we could fit it into a regular meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So 7th or 21st of November?
21st.
That's fine.
21st, good?
Maybe.
Maybe?
It's my husband's birthday, so
It's who?
my husband's birthday.
He'll understand.
He'll understand.
He's cool like that.
We'll have a cake, we'll have a cake. We'll have a cake.
All right, I'll miss it. We
so
might not be here.
How we gonna do notification to make sure everybody in the area, drives me nuts when people are like, oh, I didn't hear about it, you know?
Like literally like mailers or flyers or I just heard that Dave has,
Grace, you guys have an email list of some folks?
I know they do. I'm not on it, but
Maybe it was
there's
we
like
did
the
this,
group
and
that's
put
about,
those and
Yeah, just send.
Postcard thing.
1,000 feet or,
Yeah.
do that. And so you're thinking a little a radius of that area. Yeah.
yeah, I get that.
Like,
little-
most people who up in that area, Tannery Brook, are still gonna probably wanna weigh in, so
Right,
hopefully they.
all those
It
streets
should
off
impact
of,
everybody.
I'd like to. avoid
Brooklyn
the
and
comment
Warren.
from that lady was saying people are on my lawn taking measurements and I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Anyone around there. I
But
think-
you'll still have people will
No.
say that they don't know, they didn't know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we can do our best.
But at least we
Yeah.
say we tried, we sent out emails or whatever,
You
mail.
put a sign on the bridge, Kathy, didn't you say some zoning committees will put a yellow sign in the yard when there's gonna be a
Yeah,
thing?
Do that, yeah.
I saw that.
first public hearing on. it.
Everybody drives through there with that.
Well, you did that on a little lot on Walnut.
It's a
Down from my
public
daughter's
hearing.
house.
So we're 3 minutes long.
Yes, goes back. Oh,
Oh, I'm glad I brought it up then.
Having grown up in that neighborhood, I can give you a good circle of who uses that bridge.
Perfect, do it,
There you go.
good idea. All right, so we'll do that the 21st. Nice, Molly.
Thanks. I just
Um,
wasn't sure when I was supposed to say that.
No, it's
You
fine.
did it.
Thank you for remembering, because I brought it up and forgot.
We don't get hung up on formalities here, Molly.
All right.
All right, where are we? Oh, so can I get a motion to go to executive session to discuss a collective bargaining issue?
So
Moved by Steve, second by Marcia. Further discussion. We don't intend to vote on anything after the session. We will then be adjourning the meeting and then having a village work session, which is not a public hearing, so there won't be public input. There will be the village discussing cannabis zoning, which we will do after the meeting. FYI.
But the public can.
Yeah, they can stick around.
Yeah.
Public can attend, right? But not participate.
Right. That'll work out.
It's for us to wrangle through it.
I will try and control it. No way.
Thanks. All right, executive session, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? We're going to executive session. If you don't come back.
Find a place, a restaurant right near it, Chris. And yes, they're gonna. Where did this place is? We don't know a lot of people about-
Is it? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second. Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the meeting is officially adjourned.